CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. Stands for Cascading Style Sheets. And CSS is a style sheet language used for describing the look and feel of the web document that is written in HTML. CSS is a style sheet language used for describing the look and feel of the website. Look and feel of the web document or website. Okay, so that is written in HTML, and CSS is a style that defines layout of HTML documents. So for example, using CSS, we can do the following things. Right, we can set font styles, and text colors. Next, page backgrounds. Okay, and element height and width. Next, page background. Page background means background color or images. Next, margins and padding. Okay, so a number of things. Okay, so we can do the CSS. Okay, using CSS we can do all these things. And CSS, we can write the CSS in external style sheets. External style sheet. External style sheet nothing but .css files. Okay, .css file. To apply CSS to the HTML form, there are three ways. Okay, there are three ways to apply CSS to the HTML form. So first one is external style sheet. Second one, internal styles. Third one, inline styles. Okay, these are the three ways to apply CSS properties to the HTML elements or HTML forms. Okay, first of all, external style sheet. External style sheet nothing but a .css file. Nothing but .css file. And suppose if you want to change, change page background. Okay, change page background or font styles or anything. Okay, just you can change in .css file so that it will reflect to the entire application. Okay, if we change any changes in that .css file, so that change will reflect to the entire application. So that is called external files, external style sheets. So using CSS we can change the entire look and feel of the website. Okay, so syntax for external style sheets. So we can write the CSS properties in one file with the .css extension, and we need to call the CSS file in HTML header section. Okay, header section in HTML form. Use link tag and href equal to .css file path. Okay, here we need to provide .css file path, and relation attribute is the must and should style sheet. Okay, and type attribute is text and .css. Okay, in HTML file this is not recommended. Okay, no need to define this type attribute in HTML file. Okay, but in Volcker versions compulsory we need to define type equal to text CSS. Okay, so an example for external style sheets. So here I'm using Visual Studio Editor, and this is our application. Okay, there is no files in this application folder CSS. Okay, so now create one HTML file, sample file. Okay, so in this HTML file, so we have one div tag. Okay, div tag with some content, okay, to display. Okay, so run this example. Okay, so just div tag is displaying like this. Okay, without any style. So now I want to apply some div background color and text color and border colors for div tag. So now create style sheet. Okay, my styles. So .css file is created here. Okay, but if you are using Notepad, okay, if you are using Notepad, save this Notepad with the .css extension. Okay, so now we can write some CSS properties in .css file. So how we can apply CSS styles? Okay, the CSS styles to this div tag. Okay, based on element name, based on element ID, okay, based on class name. Okay, there are three ways to apply CSS properties to the HTML element: based on element name, based on element ID, okay, based on class name. We can apply. Okay, these are the three ways. So I will explain these three also. So here, this example I am taking div. Okay, so this is the identification. Okay, ID of the div tag, identification name div1. Okay, so now in CSS file use hash symbol and div1. Okay, so div1 is ID of the div tag, and based on this ID we are applying CSS properties. Okay, if you are using ID selector, so this is the selector. If you are using ID selector, use hash symbol. Okay, and use hash symbol and followed by ID of the element and open flower bracket and close flower bracket. So between these two brackets we need to write CSS properties. Background color. Okay, next text color, white color, and div height 200 pixels, width 200 pixels, and border 4 pixel, and solid border style. So I will explain this one also. Okay, border. So there are number of border styles is available, and border color. Okay, so now run this example once. Okay, CSS file styles is not applied because so CSS file is created here. Okay, in our project folder CSS file is there, but we need to call this CSS file in the header section of HTML form. Use link tag and href mystyles.css and relation attribute style sheet and type attribute if you need this text CSS. Okay, then after that run this example. Okay, so div background color, text color, and border style is applied. So go to inspect. Okay, you can see the styles here. Okay, in the right side, div tag, background color, and text color, height, width, and border color. Okay, so for the testing purpose you can write CSS styles here also. Okay, for the testing purpose. So now I want to add padding 10 pixel. Padding means gap between the element content and element border. Okay, so gap is created here, right? So here I have written CSS property, okay, padding 20 pixel. But if you refresh this form, okay, again padding property is removed. So that you need to update that property in your version source code so that it will reflect to the browser also. Okay, for the testing purpose you can write the CSS styles here and update that CSS style in your original code. Okay, this is the external file. So in real-time applications, for each and every file types, okay, CSS files in separate folder, .js files in separate folder, okay, image in separate folder. So create one folder here, CSS, and paste that CSS file in CSS folder. Okay, in that scenario you need to call that full path of CSS type. Okay, so this CSS file is in CSS folder. Okay, CSS folder slash mystyles.css. So now run this example. So here you can see localhost CSS, our project folder is CSS, and CSS is the folder in the project, and mystyles.css is the CSS file. Okay, you can see the full path of CSS file here. So this is the external file example. And second one, internal styles. Internal style sheet should be used when a single document has a unique styles. Uh, internal internal style sheet should be used when a single document has unique styles. So in real-time applications, there are a lot of pages is there in the application. Okay, but if you need separate uh, look and feel for the separate one single page, one single HTML form. Okay, you can write that CSS files in internal styles for that particular HTML form only. Syntax: if you need separate CSS file for the particular form, you can write that CSS in header section. In header section or in body section, or you can write. External files also we can call .css files in header section or body section. Okay, in header section or body section we can call. Okay, same process. Link tag we need to use. For internal styles also we can write internal styles in header section or body section. So in header section, use style tag. Okay, to insert CSS styles in the HTML form, use style tag. And after that we can write CSS properties. Okay, like this. Okay, so this is the process. In header section and or in body section. In body section also use style tag to insert CSS properties. Okay, CSS properties. So this is the syntax for the internal style sheets. So create one HTML form. Internal styles. Okay, internal styles. And here same thing, div tag we can use. Okay, div tag. This div tag, this content. Okay, and next in header section, use style tag dash div2. Okay, ID is div2. So now height 300 pixels and width 400 pixels and text color and border color. Next background color. Okay, so now run this example. So this is the internal styles, and so we apply CSS properties to the div tag using style in a header section. Using style tag return some CSS properties. Okay, so in CSS we are finding the element with ID div2. Okay, so this style sheet find out the element with ID div2 and apply CSS properties to that particular HTML element. Okay, text color and height width and background color. Okay, this is internal styles. Next, inline styles. Inline styles. Uh, Inline styles is used to apply styles apply styles only a small only a piece small piece of code need styled. Okay, and this is syntax is for example, so we have span tag. Okay, and this span tag contains some information. This is example text, and I want to apply text color or background color or font style to this particular span. So right, use style attribute. We need to use style attribute to apply CSS properties. Okay, so here text color red and font style. Okay, so like this we can apply CSS properties. So create one HTML form, inline styles. For example, paragraph. So this paragraph contains this content to display, and I want to apply CSS properties using inline. Use style attribute and text color red color and font size 20 pixel and font style is italic. Okay, so now run this example. Okay, italic text style format and font style is 20 pixel and text color is red color. Okay, you can see the CSS styles here. Okay, element dot style. So directly we have written the CSS properties to the HTML element using style attribute. So internal styles also we can apply in a header section or in body section. Okay, right, like this. uh, External style sheets also we can call external styles in, okay, in the body section. Okay, same styles is applied. So next, CSS selectors. CSS selectors. So these selectors are very important. Okay, these selectors are very important to apply CSS to HTML elements. HTML elements. So there are three ways to apply CSS classes to the HTML elements. There are three ways to apply CSS classes to the HTML elements. So first one, ID selector. Second one, class selector. Third one, element selector. Okay, so these are the three ways. And most important is ID, class, and element. Okay, these three are important selectors. So ID selector. ID selector selects the ID of the element. The selector selects elements based on their element ID. Okay, so now if you want to apply CSS properties using ID selector, here we have paragraph, sample text, and use ID equal to P1. So this is the ID of the paragraph. Using this ID we can apply CSS properties using ID selector. So write CSS styles like this. If you are using ID selector, use hash symbol and followed by ID of the element. And next, CSS properties we need to write here. Okay, this is the ID selector. Okay, so based on ID selector, we are applying CSS properties to the HTML elements. So create an HTML form. ID selector. Use paragraph. So this paragraph contains some information, and use style tag. ID equal to P1 or P sample. Okay, any name we can use here. Use a symbol P sample color, text color is red color. Okay, and font size 18 pixels. Okay, so now run this example. So CSS class is applied. Okay, based on ID selector, we have written some CSS properties. Here, CSS class. Okay, find out the HTML element with uh, paragraph with ID p sample. So find out that element and apply CSS properties. Okay, p sample and color and font size. So this is the ID selector and class selector. Selector selects elements based on their class name. Okay, class name. So for example, here paragraph, same example. So instead of ID, we can use class attribute here. Okay, p class. The sample text. Use style tag. Okay, if you are using class selector, use dot symbol and followed by class name. PCLS is the class name. Okay, in this CSS properties. Okay, we are using class selector so that class name should be same as okay here you provided, and for class selector use dot symbol. Okay, and followed by class name, and after that write same CSS properties. Okay, class selector and class name is my paragraph. Class my p is the class name, right? So that font size 25 pixels. Next font style is italic. So now run this example. Okay, font size is 25 pixels and font style is italic. Okay, font style italic and font size 25 pixels. So based on class selector, we are applying CSS properties to the HTML element. Okay, so here you can observe one thing: class selector and ID selector both are same maximum. Okay, but the little bit difference is there. Okay, for class selector and ID selector. So class selector is faster than ID selector. Okay, class selector is faster than ID selector. So that in real-time applications also, max is class selector only. Okay, in rare conditions you can use ID selector. Okay, and one more thing is in real-time applications also you can observe all CSS files. Okay, all CSS files are any CSS code written in the header section only. Okay, don't write CSS classes in the body section. Okay, so it will affect to the application, reduce the performance of the application. Okay, always write css properties or call css files in the header section, and js files you should always call in the end of the body section. Here you can call .js files. Okay, so that you can improve the application performance. So these are the logics. Okay, id selector and class selector, and finally element selector. The selector selects elements based on their element name. Syntax: paragraph. Here sample text, and style tag. Use directly element name, okay, for element selector, and after that css properties. Okay, this selector selects all elements in the document. Okay, here we are using element selector. So this element selector selects all elements with p. Okay, element name equal to p, so that it will, this properties is applied to the all elements in the document, all paragraphs in the document, not all elements, not all elements. So this will apply only all paragraphs in the document. So create an HTML form, element selector. So here create one paragraph. This paragraph contains this text, okay, sample text, style, and here we are using element selector, color, okay, text color, and font weight, bold, and font size 20 pixels. Okay, so now run this example. So paragraph upload some css properties. So paragraph tag, color, text color, and font weight, and font size 20 pixel, and bold, and color is applied. Suppose if we have number of paragraphs in the document. Okay, okay, so here we have 4 paragraphs. So now refresh this example. Okay, all paragraphs applied same css styles because we are using element selector. Element selector selects all elements in the document with the element name equal to p, so that this property is applied to the all elements in the document. So now in this scenario, if you want to apply different styles for different all paragraphs, so in that scenario you can use id selector or class selector. Okay, if you want to apply all paragraphs same styles, you can use element selector. If you need different styles, use id or class. Okay, my p class here, this class is applied to only last paragraph, and for id selector, p1. Okay, so first paragraph, these properties is applied, and second and third paragraph, this properties is applied. Fourth paragraph, this class is applied. So now run this example. Okay, so we can apply color here. Color is yellow color we can use. Okay, so first paragraph and last paragraph different styles, and these two are same styles because for these two element selectors, these two are id selector and class selector. Okay, so these are the selectors, id selector and class selector and element selector. Okay, this is very important concept. Okay, the selectors. And the next one is text alignments. Text elements is used to set the horizontal alignment of the text. This feature is used to set horizontal alignment element of a text. Okay, element of text. Syntax. For example, so alignments are left alignment and right alignment and center and justify. Okay, center, left, right, and justify. So these are the alignments. So we can apply these four alignments using text align property. Use text align property to apply alignments. Okay, alignments. So syntax is paragraph and id equal to p1 sample text sample text. Use style here hash p1 text align colon right. So if you want to display the text in right align, use right or left. So by default text will be aligned to the left align. Okay, if you want to display the text in right side, use right. If you want to display text in center align, use center. Okay, text align colon center. So example, text align. So take this paragraph Okay, and the CSS style. Text color red. So now run this example. Okay, here sample text is right aligned. So go to inspect. You can see the property here, text align right. If you want to display the text in left align, so you can remove this property. Okay, total property you can remove. Otherwise, you can apply text align property left. And if you want to apply text in center align, use center tag, center CSS property. And justify is is a text. Justify is a text justified text is a block of text that align on the left, right side, and adjusting the word and letter spaces, adjusting the letter and word letter spaces in each line of text, to make each line the same length. Okay, same length. So adjusting the letter and word spaces in each line of text and to make each line the same length. So justify you can use here. So for example, copy number of lines of paragraph. Can justify and add some more text. Okay, for example text, here you can observe, okay, adjusting the word and letter spaces in each line of text and make each line the same length. Okay, each line the same length.